Assalamu alaikum. So today I'm going to talk about the German unification, especially the factors that led to the German unification in 1871. Arguably the single most significant event in the history of Europe that shaped the complexion of its history in the future years. So let's start. It begins in 1815 when a German confederation is formed, led by Austria. It's a 39-member German ethnically and culturally German states, So the first fact, you have Austria at its head, but you have Persia, the second most significant and powerful state, which is increasingly growing in military and economic power. But the first factor that shaped the perception of the German people living in Persia was that of nationalism. The nationalism was the norm of that time. Liberalism and democracy and all these national sentiments were growing around the world, and this was especially true of Persia, which had different writers, scholars, as well as social, festivals were taking place, that were advocating for the idea of Persian or German nationalism, like people like Herd, and even Hegel called Persia the completion of the historical process. So that idea of nationalism, German nationalism, was extremely prevalent in Persia, which in gave the social support and social mass to the movement of German nationalism, German unification. And then the second element was obviously of the economy. You need money to carry out any major political change. So that came for Persia when Persia was growing increasingly in economy. They had coal, they had iron, they had formed and the Zollverein, the alliance of German states, excluding Austria, that exempted them from tariff in terms of trade. So you had Persia growing on one hand, and then you had Austria, which was increasingly declining in its economic prowess from the 1850 onwards because of its involvement in different wars against Hungary and Italy and Batman, just to name a few. So you had the rising Persian economy, and then you had the declining Austrian economy. But the biggest factor that made the German unification possible was Ottoman Bismarck, the Iron Chancellor of Persia. He took over after the 1860s, and he was a pragmatic. He undertook policies and approaches that were extremely pragmatic and practical, and he formed alliances and with different states in order to secure that. So what he did was that he reformed the army, made it extremely equipped to the needs of the time. Secondly, he engaged in 3 series of war. First, in 1863 against Denmark over 2 different German territories, in which he assured the alliance of Austria, and they defeated Denmark, took over those territories. Then in 1866, he engaged in war with Austria. He defeated the Austrians and removed them off the Confederation. And then in 1870, he fought the final war with the French, in which he defeated the French and took over the entire Confederation of German states and formed the German Empire in 1871. Thank you.